Let's talk about how your IRA savings can really grow over time. Since there's a limit of contribution each year, contributing regularly to IRA saving is considered as a periodic investment. Imagine that you decide to invest a fixed amount each year. To see what that might become in the future, we need a few key things. First, what is your annual contribution? Second, an estimated average annual interest rate for the account, and the number of years that you plan to contribute. Well, let's use a realistic example. Let's say that you invest about $3,000 each year and the annual interest rate is about 4%, and you're planning to do this consistently for 20 years. Now we can use a special formula to see how much that might grow into. It's called the future value of a periodic investment. Now, don't worry, it's not as complicated as look. If we start plugging in the values into the formula, you will see that the $3,000 will go into P as the periodic contribution, and 0.04 will go into R, and 20 will go into N, because N is the periodics of contribution. In this case, it's about 20 years. We're assuming that your interest is compounded every year. You get about $89,334 after 20 years of consistently investing into this account. Is it a great number, you might ask? Well, let's see the magic happen here. Let's take a look at this graph. The dashed blue line shows the future value of your investment over time, and the solid green line represents the total amount that you actually contributed yourself, the principal. Notice that the gap between these lines begins to widen sharply after about 10 years. The difference is compound interest in action. So the earlier you start, the more consistent you are, the greater this gap becomes, and your money making money growing at an accelerating pace. That's amazing, right? With a consistent of $3,000 investment each year on an average of 40% interest rate, you could potentially accumulate almost $90,000, which yields about $30,000 of total interest. This shows you how your consistent contribution and the power of compound interest really add up over time. So what the big takeaway? You want to start early, stay consistent, and planning for long term, and just watch the power of compounding work for you. Let's say if you keep contributing for another 5 years, the future value will be about $125,000. So what do you think? Should you start thinking about having an IRA savings now?